Hello and welcome to Better Gaming, the event and podcast series dedicated to all aspects of ethical gambling. My name's Jim, I'm the host of this show, and in this episode I'm going to be taking a look at novelty betting markets, and none more so novel than the one you can see here on the screen from the Guardian article, and it's regarding on who will be the next Pope. The conclave opens tomorrow on Saturday, whereby 200 Catholic cardinals will be vying and posturing and doing political horse trading to decide who's going to be the next pope. And obviously, where there is an undefined outcome, there are gambling companies, and this is no different. So let's take a look into the article that we can see here on the screen. Scroll down. So bookmakers have a reputation for getting it right most of the time. I don't think this is going to be the case in this instance because it's pretty much a closed shop, which is quite a good thing. The lead operator featured in this article is Polymarket. Now, Polymarket is a cryptocurrency betting exchange that tends to get a lot of headlines around these unusual betting activities. This article was done on Friday, 25th of April, so a week ago, and they are saying that they have hosted peer-to-peer bets worth more than $6 million or 4.5 million as of Friday. I have since been on the website and that particular exchange, and that's now running at $10 million. So it's not an incredibly high staking novelty bet market. Just to give it some context, the US Treasury is looking to increase interest rates, and the exchange value on that is $30 million. So there's not that much interest within this betting exchange, but it does pose the question just regards to what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable when it comes to novelty betting markets. One, you could argue that, this is a very serious religious ceremony and process and shouldn't be subjected to this sort of activity, especially as it goes against the beliefs of that particular religion. But then on the other hand, it's shining a light on the activity. A lot of media will be covering it, especially when the conclave opens on Saturday. So where do I sit on it? A little bit uncomfortable, but then not altogether unusual. And apparently betting on who will be the next pope has been going on for hundreds of years. So it's certainly not a new thing, but it certainly is something that's covered in a lot more detail. And essentially what you get is the front runners on which of the cardinals are in the top slots at the moment. And it's between an Italian, a Hungarian, I think a Filipino, and there's an African Ghanaian cardinal who are all in the running. And I'd be surprised if it wasn't an Italian, but the Filipino seems to be closing on the odds. There we are. I'm getting sucked into this. I will resist. So I think it's more of a conversation about whether or not betting should be covering these things. And I think something like essentially the Pope is a world leader in terms of religious activities. So you could argue that it shouldn't be done. And specifically Polymarket, as I mentioned, they were getting heavily involved in the US elections and the presidential campaign. And I think we have to just err on the side of caution when it comes to these sort of things, because obviously if people are making financial gain from a predicted outcome, then that opens up the door to corruption. And that is essentially what we saw with the British politicians who have now been subjected to gambling commission legal action. And so we do have to be particularly wary of when this can impact on outcomes that it shouldn't influence. Politics is definitely one of them, and I would like to see some further insight into how the Gambling Commission and how the gambling operators are going to conduct themselves when it comes to political debate and political betting markets. Yeah, on a lighter side, I don't see that there will be many cardinals that will be open for corruption, but then I could be wrong. Hope you've enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Take care. All the best.